Okay, so in the continuation of table space, we have few more important things that we have to understand. Okay, so I think we have talked about all the table space related thing last time. Now the important part, the important thing which comes into the picture is temp table space. Okay, this is another problem that I have to fix my writing pad. So temp table space. Okay, first of all, what is temp table space, or what is the temporary segment or something which is there in the database? Anyone? Okay, so temporary table spaces are the place or the segment where we are just parking or putting the temp related information. So what are the temp related information? Sorting. Okay, let's suppose your query is doing sorting, your query is doing joins, especially group joins, or they are doing any mathematical operation, right? Any mathematical operation. In that case, what happens? This particular temporary table space is used for these kind of operations. Sometimes what we are doing, we are joining two tables, right? We have table 1 and we have table 2. So what happens from the table 1? Let's suppose you have a column 1 and you have another column 2, and we are just doing a comparison. Let's suppose I am doing a inner join or something. So just to do this comparison, we need some extra space, right? So this space is nothing but a temp space. Okay. So like other databases, Postgre also provides you an option called temporary table space. Okay. So these temporary table spaces are the 1 minute, are the small memory area which is used to run the different sorting operation like order by, group by, hash join, aggregation, okay, index building, sometimes vacuuming, okay, and analyzing and all the other things. Another thing, before we go into the table space, there are few important concepts that we have to understand. Okay, so let me take you to the architecture first. Let me open the architecture photograph, because if we understand from that point of view, it is going to give us the more. Okay, let me take this. Okay, it's visible for everyone. Is it visible for everyone first of all? So
Yes.
let's
Yes.
understand the core concept, how the overall temp table space is worked on the architecture. Otherwise, we will not understand it end to end. So we know, right? Client is connecting to the database. Database have a process called postmaster process. Postmaster process is creating a dedicated background process. Okay, dedicated background process. This is nothing but my background process, right? For per session. So every session is having a construct of work mem, temporary buffer, maintenance underscore work, catalog cache, and optimizer and executor. Okay, so in other words, you can say when a user is connecting to Postgre, it's getting allocated the backend process first. So backend process, in a high level, we just say it's a backend process. But if you go into the depth, or if you go into the further inside, you will find that background process itself is combination of multiple things. Okay, the first thing is it's combination of work underscore map, temp underscore buffer, maintenance underscore work underscore map, catalog cache, and optimizer, like that. Okay, so when we are understanding the temporary table space, our visibility or our understanding should start from this particular end, so that your temporary table space concept will be more clear. So the core concept is, once your work underscore mem area is exhausted. Let's suppose, let me show you practically. So first of all, what is work underscore mem? Work underscore mem is a parameter or a area in Postgre which is decided when you have started your database session. Okay, so this is work underscore mem. In the same way, you have maintenance underscore work underscore mem, like this, right? And also you have temp tablespace. Okay, so currently we have not assigned any temp tablespace. Okay, but I'll show you everything back to back. Mean to say step by step. So first of all, session has connected to backend. Backend has multiple process, work underscore mem, temp underscore buffer, maintenance underscore work underscore mem, catalog cache, and optimizer. Here, the small concept which is important to understand, whenever your work underscore mem is getting exhausted, your temp underscore buffer can be used. Okay. Second thing, very important thing, a temp uh, a temp segment or a temp a table space can be allocated on multiple levels. Okay, so when we understand about the Postgre database, we have already understood few core concepts, right? First thing is cluster level. Okay, cluster level. Another one is session level. Okay, and third one is which level? Cluster level, session level,
User level.
user session or user level is quite same actually, basically. So sorry, not same in Postgre, it is not same. Session is different and user level is completely different. 1 minute, let me write it here. I will change my writing pad also very soon so that these problems will go away. So first of all, DB level. Another thing is session level. Then we have user level. Okay, so DB level, session level, and user level. And these three kind of option we have whenever you are getting allocated the temp table space. Okay. Another thing, as I have mentioned, if your work underscore mem area is exhausted, automatically your temp buffer is going to be used. So two very important concept here. Okay. Uh, temp buffer and work underscore mem buffer are two different kind of buffer. Work underscore mem is a memory buffer, and whenever we are allocating temp buffer, these buffers are nothing but, or temp table space is nothing but coming from your disk. Okay, so how it is coming from the disk? Whenever we are creating any temp table space, we are allocating a storage or a disk area. Okay, which I'm going to show you in the practical in few minutes. So short performance point of view, always work underscore mem is going to give you better performance than temp underscore table spaces. Okay, so whenever you will go and see in some database environment where you are getting OLAP kind of load. OLAP is nothing but analytical load, or DSS. DSS is nothing but decision support system kind of environment where users are running lot of reports or something. You will find your work underscore mem is high. Okay, and temp table spaces utilization is less, or they are not relying on temp table space much because the overall temp table space is utilized by disk. Okay, so these are the small things that you have to understand in the later performance tuning, and explain when I will teach you the explain plan, how to read the explain plans. These kind of concepts will come into that session again and again. So now let's summarize what I have said just now. We have temp table space in Postgre. Temp tablespace is used for temporary sorting, group by, order by, hash aggregation, and indexing vacuuming. Okay. And whenever you have doing any temporary operation on your session level, okay, on your session level, on in the DB level or in the user level, this particular temp underscore table space is used, okay, using temp buffers. Any doubt so far? Any question?
No, we are good.
I have one
Hmm?
doubt.
Yeah,
This temporary table space is used for that sorting and joining things, right? So,
correct.
is that configurable, or
Yes,
do
it
we
is
have any
configurable.
separate parameter for this?
Yes,
In
yes,
MySQL, we have a sort buffer pool and
correct,
join buffer pool and all will be there, right? Likewise,
correct.
do we have a separate parameter for these things, or everything in common in tables, temp table space?
It is here, it is just controlled by temporary table space. It is not that granular that you can assign it to a different level. It is just on the DB level, session level, and user level, like that.
Okay. And one more thing,
Hmm.
if you're giving a configuration, consider if you're giving a,
Hmm.
4 MB of temporary table space
Hmm.
size, means for each connection,
Hmm.
for each operation, it will take 4 MB, or it will
First of
manage.
all, it will try to manage the space in work underscore mem. First here 4 MB. If it is
Okay.
getting exhausted, then it will go to your temporary buffers. What if which you will going to assign whatever level you have assigned. Let's suppose you have assigned on the DB level or session level or user level like that.
Okay.
But the small issue is whenever is exhaust from work underscore mem to temporary table space, you might get lot of disk IO like that. So that is the only
Okay.
disadvantage. Yeah.
Okay. And we can configure on all the three levels, right?
Mhm.
In
All the
parameter.
three levels, all the
And
three levels. And let me show you practically. So first of all, whenever you are trying to create the temporary table space, so understand your storage first. Okay. So temp space or temporary table space supposed to be configured in a very high level or high throughput file system. Okay. So in our older days, when we used to configure when we used to configure the servers, we used to use temp cards, right? If people are aware of it, temp cards for the servers. So these cards used to provide us a very high throughput, which is directly attached to our systems. So temp card, I will call it flash card for servers. So they used to provide us a card like this, and these used
mhm.
to be called as a flashcards. But now technology has changed. Now we have NVMEs. So when you are planning for any temporary table space, try to find a kind of drive which is faster than your normal disk. Okay, so this concept is why I'm talking about all these things. When you are planning your server for the production, or let's suppose if you are in a AWS, Azure, or GCP, try to create this temp space, the place. It's supposed to be very high performing. Otherwise what will happen, whatever, if you have accidentally choose some location which is not performing well, you might see lot of database related performance issues. So
Okay.
I will just create a directory. Let me go to the root first. This font size is good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go to the opt and let's create a directory called temp TBS. Let's suppose TBS. Okay, and just give the ownership to ch own postgre postgres colon temp. Okay, see, if the moment you give colon only, everything else get added by default. So this is a Unix way of giving everything to a user. Okay, normally what we do, we just give user and then group, right? So if you put semicolon only, then Linux understands that you want to give everything. Let's suppose Postgre is a part of n number of groups, so all the privileges will get added by default. Okay, so now my temporary table space place is created. Now what I will do, I see a raise hand. Yeah, Rohit, tell me. Rohit,
Abhishek,
your
you
turn.
will be some because I'm very much confused. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So according to me, that what I have, whenever the work memory is something, we allocate the work memory for the
Mm-hmm.
sorting operations.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, you said that that these operations also allocated to the vacuum operation or maintenance work memory. So I was aware of
Correct.
that this is allocated only for the sorting operations or group by operations.
No, no, no,
So
no.
for
It is.
maintenance
It
work
is not. It is
memory,
not. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Maintenance
for
work
maintenance
underscore
work
memory is
memory.
a different part. It is not allocated with temp. That's a altogether at separate buffer area.
So you already said na, that vacuum operations or something index operations,
Mm-hmm.
this temp space is also allocated. So there's a
Correct.
segregate it na, for maintenance work memory or temp is for the group by or sorting by operations na only. So what are the operations in the temp?
Basically, when you are
Hmm,
running vacuuming or analyze
hmm,
operations, some
hmm.
part of your database, some part of the operation also goes to work underscore mem, right? So that particular, if you are analyzing or vacuuming is a very doing it, or you are running it on a big table space or big table. So
Okay,
what happens? It getting used, your temp is also getting utilized. Okay. Second thing, uh, to reduce the load
okay.
from your main data dictionary, temp has been invented or temp has been attached. Okay. By default, if you see the Postgre installation, temp is not activated by default. Okay. So it is just a alternate part or a optional part where you want to give or utilize as a temp table space or temporary for the
Or in
in
terms
terms
of
of
if you go for the cloud one, there is an option of creating the temp table space or not?
cloud we have option lot of option we have to create the temp table space. Even we can send our operation to the blob storage also. So in the store in cloud we have multiple options, but in the real time servers which is managed by us, we normally try to use some disk or some flash cards which is having more IO or more speed, in other words. Have I answered your question? You're clear?
70 to 80%, 20% is something. Yeah, I was
So you
thinking because I was, yeah,
Mhm.
I was something taught or something learned that work memory is allocated for sorting or group by operations, and the maintenance work memory is allocated for the
Mhm.
index operations or when you go for. Now
Mhm.
there is another concept of timetable space.
Mhm.
In that's I was not aware of that. The
Don't
timetable space
worry,
is there.
don't
Timetable.
worry. Just let's do this practice. And
Okay.
if you are still not clear, we have time after the session. I can
Okay.
still we can have a discussion about that. Okay. So
Okay.
let's finish this first, and then we'll have a discussion on that. So currently, I have created the directory, this particular directory, and now this directory, what I'm planning to do, I'm going to use it on my database level. So first of all, before I use this directory as a temp table space, I have to give a name. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to give this particular directory as a name. So in my case, I'm giving temp underscore ts. Okay, so temp underscore ts opt, and what was my directory name? Temp tps. So the moment it is created, now I can use it on any level. Okay, I can use it on the database level, I can use it on session level, and all the levels. So let's suppose you want to set it for a particular user level. So what you will do, you will simply say alter user, and you will say some user postgre and set temp tablespace equal to your tablespace name. So this is the way you can configure it on the user level. Let's suppose I don't want to use my tablespace on my user level. I just want to use it for the session level. So Postgre gives you a command called set command. So set temp tablespace equal to temp ts like this. So in this case, what is happening? I am using the temporary tablespace on my session level. Okay, let's suppose I want to use it on my entire database level. So simply alter database set temp tablespace equal to temp ts. Set Postgre set and tablespace temp tablespace like that. What I did, I have set this particular temporary tablespace for entire database level. So my database is going to use this particular temporary tablespace. So now one small concept that you have to understand, the session level, uh, whenever we are setting the session level temporary tablespace, it means whenever we are writing a transaction, I hope everyone understand the transaction. Transaction means like if I writing a transaction begin statement or something, begin and then statement 1, statement 2, statement 3 like that, right? So all these statements in that statement also using set command, I can define my tablespace. Okay, clear? At least these levels, different levels.
Abhishek, for this one,
Mm-hmm,
you set the temp
mm-hmm,
tables for Postgres database only,
mm-hmm.
or it's a
Correct.
cluster level.
No, this is not a cluster level. It is only database level. See here,
Uh,
Postgre is one of the database from the cluster, but not entire cluster.
can
So
you
this is,
test for the another database? I
yes.
suppose to say I read somewhere which
Mm-hmm.
we can't set for the Postgres, I mean, which we can't set for the dedicated database for the temp because I read somewhere I didn't get exact point,
I'll
but
tell you.
where
I'll tell you. If
okay,
let's suppose I have another database.
temp files are session scoped, right? Not database scoped.
No,
Okay, yeah,
I
yeah,
think you are thinking from the Oracle point of view, but Postgre is a very advanced database. You have thousands of options to alter your databases. Can you see the
got
same temp space I have used
yes,
for my another database? So
I got it, I
the
got it.
yes, so the Oracle is more like session to session or instance one-on-one relation. Here it's one to many because we are working on the cluster mode. When I say cluster, it means single place, multiple databases. Okay, is that clear at least? Just to understanding the temp.
Yeah, yeah, I got it, I got it.
Okay.
Abhishek,
Mhm.
so what is the default level? Means when you creating a temp table, so it's
There's
going to be
no
at plus.
yes. So by default, there is no temp decided. It's empty, blank. So default will go to your work underscore mem, whatever you will do if you are not deciding temp underscore table spaces.
Okay,
Simple
then from
concept.
okay, so and as you mentioned for any sort grouping operation, it will go for the
Mhm.
work memory. Then
Mhm.
if there is no exhausted, it can go for the temp buffer.
Temp.
Then it's going to be used for temporary tables, right? That time.
Correct. So you might have heard these kind of questions multiple times in the interviews. That
Correct. Yeah.
got it right because they
Yeah.
will try to ask how you will plan your server. If I have a analytical load, how you will reconfigure your server. So these are the answers what I'm trying to give you here. If your OLTP system, how you are going to manage your queries. So like that, these are the small understanding that later on you will combine and you will get a complete picture like
And
this.
Abhishek, one more thing. So I can create
Mhm.
multiple temp tables, right? Temp one, temp two, and I
Mm,
can assign as
mm.
per my databases session also,
And
right?
as per your database, but you have to be very careful when you are assigning it to multiple databases. Basically, always try to do 101 relation. Always try to do 101 relation.
One database, one temp, right?
Ha,
Like that.
don't
Okay.
try to do one too many.
Mhm.
Otherwise, when your load is quite high, you will see lot of operations, lot of problem. Second thing, when you run the explain plan of your queries, you might see lot of disk sorting, which further you will not able to change it. In that case, you have to adjust your work underscore mam with higher server limit or the busted limit, which we call in AWS on Azure, right? The memory busted servers and all like that you have to use. Clear, right? All these
Yeah, yeah.
things, at least. Don't go into multiple, don't understand everything, just understand the basics. Simple basics,
Mhm.
simple one. Try to
And
create a mind map. Mhm,
last question. So that maintenance work area. So like as you mentioned that for analyze
mhm.
query or vacuum query. So in that case, it also going to use work memory area, right? And then if
Some part of
space.
the work memory, but mainly it is going to use maintenance underscore work underscore
Okay,
mem. Yes.
okay,
Just to get the metadata and other thing, it will use the temp underscore
okay.
table space. Okay. So mind map should be temporary table space, session level, DB level, and user level. Simple. Okay. Like that.
Abhishek,
Abhishek, last question from my.
Abhishek,
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I asked for if you're allocating the 4 MB for
Mm-hmm.
for a per session, it will take 4 MB, or
Mm-hmm.
for connection it will take sorry, connection. If it exists,
See,
will for each connection it will take 4 MB, or the total 4 MB will be distributed for all the connections.
the 4 MB initially not distributed, but it is get allocated for this
Okay.
particular backend memory. So whenever you are doing a server planning, make sure you should always find your active session multiplied by that 4 MB. Mean to say, if 100 connections are connecting, that it is multiplied by
Um,
4 MB. Like that,
okay.
you have to do a planning. But don't worry, we have server planning session also where we'll
Okay.
discuss about all these things very carefully.
Okay.
Okay. But is that clear? At least the basics are
Ye-
clear.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Thanks.
yeah, no problem. So now,
Abhishek.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
I
please.
have multiple questions.
So,
So
yeah, tell me.
yeah, so table space.
Mm-hmm,
You mentioned we can control the table space at a two
mm-hmm,
level.
mm-hmm.
One is for
Three
session.
level.
One, yeah, I mean DB session user.
Huh.
But uh, let's suppose whenever we talk, the session level controlling comes into picture when we talk specifically about temporary table space, correct?
Correct.
Because we cannot use that table space for our user data,
Mm-hmm.
correct? Like
Okay.
let's suppose when I create a table, so I
Mm-hmm.
want that the data in that table space should be persist.
Correct.
So I can set for that at a DB level or at a user level. That means
It's
if
up.
any
It
data,
dep it it depending. It depends on you on what level you want to use.
yeah,
Completely
but when it
depending
comes
on the user.
to but when it comes to temporary table space,
Hmm.
I think it is best to set at a session level.
Session level. That is always a good practice because in that case, what happens once your session is gone, that particular memory area is freed basically,
Yeah.
or it is unallocated. So that is a best practice that we follow. Uh,
Mhm.
but we have option, mean to say, we have multiple option. So you have tool available you can use based on your requirement, like whenever you want to use it.
Yeah, like
Okay.
for user data, so it is not
Mhm,
advisable to use at a session level. First thing.
mhm, mhm,
Second question is, you mentioned that by default there is a no path set for temporary table space.
mhm, mhm,
Right? But if you go into base folder
mhm.
and when you do lsf and ltrh, I think we see like pg underscore temp. I think. Can you check
Right.
that now? So what is that location? If you go to base location.
See that is just a place, but if you go to the when you install the Postgre first time, It is not used directly. That particular table space is not, that space is not used. PG
Under the base.
underscore
Under the base.
under the
Or
base.
otherwise, this base is if you not mention the table space location when you create the temporary table space, it might be generated in this place.
Just for sorting purpose, it might be generating, but it is not dedicated that this particular place is used for temporary, because
Exactly.
just see this. When we did it first time, temporary table space, there was no value assigned it.
That's right.
I think there should be a default location where all the temporary, data
This
goes.
might be
That is the
this.
because like that is the location where we can say base, then database OID, then we can go PG underscore temp. That place we can see the temporary location, default location for the temporary table space. Am I right, Abhishek?
Yes, for the sorting purpose, mean to say there is a space, there is a place, but it is not dedicated that it is going to use that particular space. It is blank. It is just cluster level might be using this space, but it is not dedicated. Here, what I am trying to tell you, that you can create your dedicated space on your database level and you can assign it to different database or session level like that.
This is which we can control, but by default, I think there is a space in which all the temporary thing goes. So
Mhm.
by default, there is a no limit. So if the temporary data is too much, then we might get into no temporary space available or out of space.
Correct.
So that's why we keep a cap on that, so that if the
We
any
are
query
clear.
is generated.
Correct. And second thing, also just to reduce the IO, let's suppose if you see the current location, it is coming from this particular location, this particular disk space or LUN or storage area network or NFS or iSCSI, whatever you call it, different protocol. If you want to channelize your IO to different places for your temporary operation, this particular table space gives you option to channelize your IO like that, step by step, whatever you want to channelize. That's why Git lab is able to provide 1 to 2 million active traffics to the Postgre databases. So they are not using the normal database configuration like the default configuration. They have channelized their temp, they have channelized their table spaces into different storage unit like that. Clear? Because
Abhishek, like
Mhm.
Yes.
Can we park this question for
yeah,
some time?
yeah,
Because again, we
definitely.
will come into the same scenario, So what will happen? Temporary table space. Okay, are we good with this? Because I have two things very important, which I want to cover, which I supposed to cover in the last time, but somehow I've, due to time, I have not covered it. Is this clear,
So,
everything?
Abhishek, there was an interview question asked
Mm-hmm,
that Vikas already shared that temp
mm-hmm,
space
mm-hmm,
that is written in the chat. I also
mm-hmm,
face practically could not write temporary table,
mm-hmm,
no space left
mm-hmm,
on device. So every time this error comes and my database
mm-hmm,
is restarted. So this is the practical error
mm-hmm.
I'm facing.
Okay, okay. No problem. We'll just discuss it after some time or after the break. Let me finish these topics first and then we can have a discussion. Okay. Rohit,
Okay,
is
okay.
that fine? Yeah. So
Yeah, fine,
in the
fine.
last topic, we have not talked about one very important concept called dot. But are we clear here? At least before I jump into that, are we basics are clear related to temp? Is that clear, everyone?
Yes.
Basics are clear. Are you able to understand what is temp and everything at least? Okay.
Yes.
Now, when we were talking about the metadata command or slash commands, we have not talked about the, we were not, we have, one second, one second. Okay. So the thing is, when we were talking about all these bash commands, right? Slash commands and all, we have not talked about the prompt related commands. Okay. So then one small thing that I want to tell you before we go ahead and before we do that, we have a concept called dot PSQL RC. Okay. So use in the PSQL RC, what we can do, we can also write our session level commands, or we can put the different kind of set commands. Let's suppose I want to put that I want to say that every time whenever my sessions are getting connected, they are by default, I'm getting the timing for every of my command. So what I do, I simply go and create one file called dot PSQL RC. Okay. And when in my current session, in my current directory, if this file is existing, it takes the variables for my particular session. So let's suppose, for example, I want that every time I want timing supposed to be on my session. So by default, if I run any query, let's suppose select star from users, I don't get any timing related detail, right? So slash timing, right? This is the function we use, right? And whenever we make it on and writing any query, we get timing also, right? But this is just, this is not static, right? Whenever I will log out, what will happen? I'm not going to get the same option on or the slash command on. To fix all these things, to fix or to make it permanent, what we do, we create a file called .plsql rc. Okay, plsql rc. And in this, what we do, we simply go and write our commands. So let's suppose I want to say that my prompt should look like this. Okay. In a minute, I will show you what I'm talking about. So what this is going to do, this is going to show me my current database, current user in my prompt itself. Okay, so let's suppose I have saved it. And the moment I will log into my database, can you see here? I'm getting my current database and current user. For example, test db01. See here, my user is Postgre and my database got changed. So like this, you can create PL/SQL RC also in your Postgre level to define the your prompt. Okay, you can also create the aliases. Okay, which is another important concept that you can do. So what is aliases? Aliases is nothing but, let's suppose I have an automation, I have a query, and I am running the query again and again, and I'm writing the whole query every time. So what I will do, I will simply do the alias on my session level. So let's suppose every time I'm running select star from users. Okay, and it is giving me the output like this. But I don't want to run the query again and again. So I'll just do set. I will say cell, and then I will say select star from, and I simply configure it. So whenever I say colon cell users, what it will do? It will run the query select star from users like this. Can you see this? So like that also you can create aliases for longer or complex operations, which
So this
I
will be
was,
a session one, right?
yeah, this is now, this is on the session level. This particular alias is on the session one, but using the bash, using the IRC file, you can make it permanent also.
So where do we need to create this file?
You
In the
you
base
have to
directory?
create it. You have to create it in your base directory, always
Okay.
on your
Okay.
main directory. Okay.
Okay.
Is that clear? At least another thing.
Abhishek,
Mhm.
but this setting won't work for other users or for other connections which are
Other
connecting
database
from remote
users. Correct.
from
They
remote
will
location.
not. They will not work. They will work
Because
only on the on the Linux level.
Default. Yeah,
Default
because
level. Yes.
is it like bash rc file, like whenever we log in into session, it kind of reads that file
Correct.
and then work accordingly.
Yes. So mainly when we configure all these things, when we have a specific pipelines and all, where we need the output according to our need or something. So like that.
Yeah.
Clear, everyone? Okay.
Yes.
One more thing. In the same continuation, we have also a file called pgpass. Okay. So whenever you don't want to provide any password to specific user or something, you can also configure pgpass. Okay. So pgpass is nothing but a environment file or a prerequisite file. Whenever the pgpass is available on your run level, let's suppose I have created a file called .pg_pass. And what I did, I have simply configured the pg_pass with these values. Let's suppose host name is 192.168.9 and I have given 5432. I have given the database as a testdb01 and I have given the user as a Postgres and I have given the password. So what will happen whenever I'm trying to connect to the Postgre and I'm not providing the password. So what will happen? Password will be by default get picked by this particular file. So let's suppose you are trying to log in as a Postgre like this. And if it is prompting for the password again and again using pgpass file, you can avoid the password prompt and password will be provided by your pg_pass like that. Not important, but an important thing to know just to understand all these things. So these two things just in the continuation of our / commands that we did last time.
Abhishek, sir, one question. So,
Mhm.
can you store that password in a production server also with this file?
No,
PG
no. This is just an option. Technically,
option.
whenever you want to store your production password, there are multiple options. Okay. So whenever you're storing the production password, the first thing is use Lux. Second thing, use Kerberos. Third thing, use PGP. Fourth is use Vault. Okay. Fifth option is also there. Use APIs to store your
HashiCorp.
production parts. Yes, Vault is nothing but HashiCorp only. PGP is nothing but GPG. Kerberos is nothing but I would say Kerberos or LDAP. Use always Kerberos or LDAP. So Kerberos is a way where you will create a dedicated software or dedicated server where we are using the authentication method. Kerberos. So I'm talking about this particular software. You can use Kerberos and Kerberos is going to handle your authentication method or everything. You can also use LDAP for your information. Now you will ask how I can use LDAP because LDAP is a Linux level entity, right? How my Linux level user can interact with the database level. Excuse me. So that is possible using pg_indent file where I will just go and say LDAP user is going to be A and my database level user is going to be Postgres like that. Like that you can write the pointing or something. Make sure is it clear all these things whatever I have just said, password encrypt, how you can manage in the production.
Are we
Is
covering
that
this
clear?
in later?
Sorry,
Are we covering this like steps to do this storage,
no,
password storage?
we are not doing it. I'm just giving you an idea because someone asked, because I did it all these
Okay.
things in the past. Lux is nothing but storage level encryption that you can handle on the storage, which call as a Lux encryption, where I'm just putting the password This is the concept of Lux encryption. So these are the real-time thing, because let's suppose I am a Google, I am a LinkedIn, I am a Facebook, I have 10,000 servers. I don't go and put the 10,000 servers username and password, right? So we are going to manage using these technologies. Mainly nowadays people are using HashiCorp Vault to store their passwords. Okay. Okay. Are we clear till here? Thing looks good. Everyone? Don't hold your question. It's okay. It's okay. If because already we are going to take a break. In case if you have any question, you can ask.
So,
I'm fine.
one
So,
question. This is regarding the interview.
Mm,
So,
mhm.
how the encryption is achieved in a Postgres? Like in Oracle, we have TD,
Mhm,
data at
mhm,
rest. Okay. In
mhm,
Flint, we have TLS. So,
mhm.
in case of Postgres, how it is achieved?
In the Postgre, again, we have concept of AES, Advanced Server Level Encryption. We have encryption or rest, first option. Second thing, we have TDE. So both the options are available. So
Both the data at rest, right? Both these are.
both this, the AES is basically managed by DBS. Rest is managed by application team. But majority of the time we are doing TDE as per the compliances, as per HIPAA or as per whatever financial compliances, we are doing TDE.
And TD is for a tablespace level, right? You
Table
can
space
create.
level, correct. It is on the storage level, in other words, you can say.
Okay.
Storage level. And this is more like on the object level or more like on the database level. Also, Postgre also give you option where you can go with the like in Oracle we have a single column we can do TDE, right? Or
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
encryption, right? Postgre also gives you using some third-party extensions. My next topic is extension after the break, so I'll explain you about that also. Okay, we have n
Okay.
number of options. Trust me, Postgre is like modified car. You can modify it on all the level. Even if you are a very good C and C++ developer, you can modify your own code. Same thing Percona did, same thing EDB did, right? They modified the code and they created their own version. So like that you can do. But if you want to do the any modification on MySQL, Mongo or Oracle, they are not possible because the moment you do some modification, the other function might not work or they have a lot of dependency. But Postgre is a database where you can modify anything according to your requirement. Clear, everyone? Can we take a short break if no one have any question? Good.
Yep.
Are we good? Like no issues, right?
Yes, we are good.
Okay. So let's meet after 15 minutes.
Please stop the recording.
Yeah, sure. So stop the recording.